When you hire a real estate agent, you expect them to be your absolute advocate, a champion who enters the market to fight exclusively for your best interests. That expectation is legally bound by what are called fiduciary duties. Looking at this diagram, we see these duties as 5 structural pillars connecting an agent to their client: care, honesty, integrity, confidentiality, and loyalty. Notice how the loyalty pillar serves as the core support. In a standard transaction, this means undivided loyalty. Your agent has no competing interests. That singular focus is essential because real estate is a zero-sum game. The buyer wants to secure the lowest possible purchase price, while the seller wants to extract the absolute highest price. Every dollar saved by one is a dollar lost by the other, so the agent functions as an unyielding champion for their side of the table. That entire model relies on one massive assumption, that the buyer and the seller are bringing their own completely separate champions to the fight. But what happens when the agent representing the buyer and the agent representing the seller both hang their license at the exact same brokerage? This scenario is known as dual agency. It means both the buyer and the seller are legally represented by the same corporate entity in a single transaction. Take a look at this conceptual graphic of a single brokerage trying to pull one house in 2 opposite directions. It illustrates an immediate logical paradox. The brokerage is legally obligated to fight for the seller's highest price, while simultaneously fighting for the buyer's lowest price. Because of this paradox, delivering on that core promise of undivided loyalty becomes mathematically impossible. A single entity cannot aggressively advocate against itself. An inherent conflict of interest takes over, immediately altering the legal relationship between client and agent. To survive this conflict of interest without breaking the law, the brokerage has to change its entire operational posture. It drops the sword of an aggressive champion and picks up the whistle of a neutral referee. This single licensee dual agency diagram shows one agent connected to both buyer and seller, contained within a strict brokerage boundary box. In designated agency, the central icon splits into 2 agents, but that overarching boundary box remains unbroken around both. Whether it's one agent or 2, the operational reality demands strict adherence to a specific mindset. 2 clients, 1 brokerage, careful boundaries. Regardless of how many internal agents are assigned to the deal, the overarching brokerage umbrella dictates the rules. Neither the buyer nor the seller will receive true undivided loyalty. This locking vault door represents the critical aspect of any high-stakes negotiation: asymmetric information. The power comes from what the other side doesn't know. Because a dual agency brokerage sits in the middle, it holds the secrets of both parties. Strict, absolute confidentiality is the only safeguard preventing that sensitive information from being weaponized by either side. To enforce this, the law dictates prohibited disclosures. On this formal offer, a stark red warning line strikes through the walkaway price, personal motivation, and prior offers. An agent can never reveal these confidential details to the other side. There is only one exception to these strict firewall rules. An agent can share this sensitive data only if they receive explicit, written permission from the client to disclose it. This legally mandated silence effectively protects both clients from exploitation. But it comes at a cost. It severely limits the strategic advice and proactive advocacy either client can receive from their agent. Zooming out to the macro level, state lawmakers view this delicate balancing act with deep suspicion. The massive potential for favoritism and abuse means dual agency operates under intense regulatory scrutiny. In fact, some states heavily restrict the practice, and others outlaw it entirely. In the states where it is permitted, it requires a strict prerequisite. Look closely at this formal agency disclosure document. Those 2 distinct signature lines, marked with caution flags, mean that explicit consent must be granted by both the buyer and the seller before dual agency can legally occur. Those signatures act as a formal, legal acknowledgement. By signing, the clients confirm they are voluntarily surrendering their right to undivided loyalty. A client entering into this arrangement is making a specific trade. They are giving up a dedicated, uncompromising advocate in exchange for transaction efficiency and convenience. If you ever find yourself sitting at the table of a dual agency deal, you have to recognize that your agent is legally tethered to neutrality. The ultimate responsibility for protecting your bottom line has shifted entirely back to you.